looking live at Launch Pad 6, Site 31 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, where a Soyuz 2.1A booster rocket stands ready to launch an unpiloted Russian resupply cargo spacecraft carrying almost 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the multinational Expedition 68 crew aboard the International Space Station. Good evening from Mission Control Houston in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, bringing you live coverage this evening of the launch of the Russian Progress 82 cargo spacecraft set to lift off at 7:20 p.m. Central Time, 5:20 a.m. in Baikonur time. Progress, once launched, is set for a 2-day 34-orbit journey to the International Space Station, where it will automatically dock to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the station's Russian segment Thursday, October 27th at 9:47 p.m. Central Time, 10:47 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, Progress, once launched, is set for a 2-day 34-orbit journey to the International Space Station, where it will autonomously dock to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the station's Russian segment. And again, that's Thursday, October 27th at 9:49 p.m. Central Time, 10:49 p.m. Eastern Time. The Progress 82 cargo craft is filled with about 3 tons of cargo. The breakdown on that cargo is 1,545 pounds of propellant, 89 pounds of nitrogen, 926 pounds of water, and 2,992 pounds of dry cargo, which consists of spare parts and other supplies, with a total of 5,552 pounds or 2.8 tons of cargo being carried to the International Space Station. Just a few days ago, the Progress spacecraft was transported to the launch pad from its processing hangar. The railroad car hauled the Progress vehicle about a quarter of a mile away to launch site 31, where it was hydraulically lifted to its vertical position, where technicians began the process of hooking up fuel lines and power lines for the final stage of the processing that will lead to this evening's launch. Now just about 16 minutes away until liftoff. The flight, as always, for a Russian Progress or Soyuz vehicle will be controlled once it reaches its preliminary orbit by flight controllers in the Russian Mission Control Center in the town of Koryov, on the outskirts of Moscow. The flight control team has been on console throughout the day, monitoring all the preparations at the launch site in the Central Asia desert. Here in Mission Control Houston, in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, the team of flight controllers has been on console this evening, working in tandem with the Russian flight control teams. And currently living and working aboard the International Space Station is a crew of 7. From left to right, NASA astronaut Frank Rubio, Roscosmos cosmonaut Dmitry Patelin, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Koichi Wakata, NASA astronauts Josh Cassada and Nicole Mann, and Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Prokopyev and Anna Kikina. Back in Baikonur, the temperature is about 43 degrees Fahrenheit with partly cloudy skies. The 2.1A booster was fully fueled several hours ago. All of the propellants are being replenished now as we are in the final minutes of the countdown that will lead to launch at 7:20:09 p.m. Central Time, 8:20:09 p.m. Eastern Time, which will be 5:20:09 a.m. on October 26 at the launch site in Baikonur. Now about a little under 14 minutes away from launch, and all of the preparations are still running smoothly for an on-time launch at 7:20:09 p.m. Central Time. If you're just joining us, you're looking live at Launch Pad 6, Site 31 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, where a Soyuz 2.1A booster rocket stands ready to launch an unpiloted Russian resupply cargo spacecraft carrying almost 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies to the International Space Station. Now about 12 minutes away from launch, and flight controllers are still reporting everything is running smoothly for an on-time launch today at 7:20 p.m. Central Time, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's 5:20 a.m. October 26 for Baikonur time. The Progress 82 is launching atop a Soyuz 2.1A booster, which is a 3-stage rocket. The first stage, with its liquid fuel engines and strap-on boosters, will burn for 1 minute and 57 seconds before the strap-on boosters are jettisoned and the first stage separates. That'll be followed by a minute later by the jettisoning of the launch shroud. The second stage engine will burn for about 2.5 minutes to continue propelling the Progress towards its preliminary orbit. The second stage separation will occur at the 4-minute 47-second mark, followed by the third stage, which will burn for a little over 4 minutes until it's shut down around 8 minutes and 45 seconds after launch, followed just seconds later by the Progress's separation from the third stage and the initiation of the solar arrays and navigational antennas to deploy. After third stage separation, Progress 82 will be put into its preliminary orbit to begin its 2-day 34 orbit journey, arriving to the International Space Station on Thursday, where it will be automatically docked to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the station's Russian segment at 9:49 p.m. Central Time, 10:49 p.m. Eastern Time. The Poisk module's docking port was vacated on Sunday, October 23rd, when the uncrewed Roscosmos Progress 80 spacecraft undocked from the International Space Station's Poisk module at 6:46 p.m. Eastern Time. At the time of launch this evening, the International Space Station will be flying 260 statute miles over Central Asia. The 7 crew members aboard the station at this hour will be asleep or be awake on the time of docking on Thursday. Prokopyev and Patelin of Roscosmos will be inside the Vesta module at a control panel called the Toru system, or the telerobotically operated rendezvous system, and would be prepared to operate a joystick in the unlikely event that a problem would occur with the automated docking system. The countdown will soon move into its automated phase that will include the purging of nitrogen from the first stage engines, the propellant drain back to make sure that the first stage of the Soyuz booster has the correct amount of propellant for its first 2 minutes of flight. Booster propellant tank pressurization will follow, and the ground propellant feed will be terminated. Now, just about 7 minutes and 30 seconds away from launch, still having reports that everything is running smoothly for an on-time launch today. Again, Progress will begin its 2-day 34-orbit journey to the station today, arriving on Thursday, where it would automatically dock to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the station's Russian segment, and that will be at 9:49 p.m. Central Time, 10:49 p.m. Eastern Time. Once Progress arrives to its preliminary orbit, there will be a series of critical burns of its engines. Those are known as DV burns, or delta velocity burns, basically a change in velocity that it will first automated maneuvers that will raise the Progress to match that of the International Space Station. And now just about 6 minutes until launch, the countdown proceeding on track. And again, once Progress arrives in the vicinity of the station late on Thursday evening, Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Patelin will be inside the Vesta module at a control panel called the Toru system, the telerobotically operated rendezvous system, and would be prepared to operate a joystick in the unlikely event that a problem would occur with the automated rendezvous system. The Progress is now in automated phase and is purging nitrogen from the first stage engines. Now only 4 minutes away from launch, and controllers at the blockhouse in Baikonur are reporting a purge of nitrogen for the first stage. The fuel lines and the other elements of the rocket engines are purged with nitrogen to proof them by removing vapors of fuel and oxidizers. The first stage will be pressurized at about the 2-minute 45-second mark before launch. The pressurization of the first stage fuel tanks will optimize the pressure of fuel, helping the structural support of the rocket as it sits on the launch pad. Again, you're getting a live view Looking now at Launch Site 31 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, the Progress 82 vehicle running through final procedures, ready to begin its 2-day 34-orbit journey to deliver about 3 tons of cargo to the International Space Station. Coming up on the 3-minute mark before launch, everything's still running smoothly. And we've now hit the 3-minute mark, and propellant drain back will begin. We're now in the phase of pressurization of the fuel tanks. The booster tank is now being pressurized for flight. Again, that pressurization optimizes the flow of fuel and helps add structural support to the rocket. One minute and 19 seconds to launch, and ground propellant feed is about to be terminated. And at the ground point, the feed has at the pressurization of fuel tanks will be complete, and the ground propellant feed is about to be terminated. 1 minute, we're now on internal power. The Soyuz rocket is now on internal power, and we have an auto sequence start in just about T-minus 47 seconds. Separation of the first umbilical tower. The launch command has been issued. The engine start command has been issued. We have an engine ignition. Turbo pumps are building up to flight speed. And liftoff. Liftoff of Progress 82, the next vehicle in the supply chain to the International Space Station. Good roll, pitch, and yaw. Program reported from Baikonur. First stage performance reported to be nominal. Good chamber pressure reported on the first stage. Good chamber pressure reported on the first stage. Good vehicle stabilization reported. 1 minute and 15 seconds into flight.
70.
One minute and 40 seconds into the flight. Everything reported to be going well. Standing by now for first stage separation. Now with the vehicle out of view, we'll be seeing this animation, and this is from the MCC in Moscow. Second stage engine is up and burning. This will be about a 2 minute and 39 seconds of burn. Flight controllers reporting everything operating nominally.
Control system.
And the launch shroud has jettisoned. The Soyuz booster traveling at almost 5,000 miles per hour. Again, the second stage will last until about the 4 minute and 47 second mark into flight. All of the vehicle parameters reported to be nominal. Coming up on the 4 minute 30 second mark into the flight. Standing by now for second stage shutdown and second stage separation. You're now seeing the external camera on the Soyuz booster. And we have second stage shutdown and separation. The third stage engine is up and running. Everything looking good. Now traveling just over 9,500 miles per hour and 100 miles in altitude at the 5 minute mark into the flight. Now being propelled by the single engine of the Soyuz third stage, the engine will thrust and burn for about 4 minutes. Good third stage engine performance reported. Good third stage engine performance reported. All structure parameters still reported to be nominal. Coming up on the 6 minute mark into flight. Third stage performance continues to be solid, propelling the Progress 82 cargo craft into its preliminary orbit. You're seeing a view now from the Progress with the solar arrays where they're at the bottom of your screen. Six minutes and 38 seconds into flight, third stage engine still burning nominally as the Progress heads towards its preliminary orbit on its journey to the International Space Station, delivering about 3 tons of cargo. About 2 minutes of powered flight remaining. Third stage performance still reported to be going well. Seven minutes and 30 seconds into flight, the Progress and the Soyuz now traveling 14,000 miles per hour, 124 miles in altitude, the trajectory flattening out, about 1 minute of powered flight remaining. Third stage performance still reported to be going nominally. Now at the 8-minute mark into flight, since the Progress lifted off, Progress now traveling almost 15,000 miles per hour and 125 miles in altitude. All structure parameters still reported to be nominal. Now standing by for third stage shutdown and spacecraft separation. Third stage shutdown confirmed and the spacecraft separation confirmed. Next step will be the deployment of the solar arrays and navigational antennas on Progress 82. And now getting reports from the Mission Control Center in Koryov that the solar arrays and antennas have deployed. The Progress 82 resupply spacecraft now officially in its preliminary orbit, which begins its 2-day journey to the International Space Station to deliver about 3 tons of cargo. Again, Progress 82 resupply spacecraft now officially in its preliminary orbit. Recapping some of the milestones from today, liftoff occurred on time at 7:29:09 Central Time, which was 8:20:09 Eastern Time, 5:20 a.m. on October 26th at the launch site in Baikonur. The Soyuz 2.1A booster lifted off from Site 31 in Baikonur and performed a series of 3 nominal burns to propel the Progress into its preliminary orbit, where it is now. Progress 82 is officially on its 2-day, 34-orbit journey to the space station, where it will dock to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the station's Russian segment Thursday, October 27th at 9:49 p.m. Central Time, 10:49 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll have live coverage of rendezvous and docking starting at 9:15 p.m. Central, 10:15 p.m. Eastern. Progress 82 will stay docked to the station for the remainder of the year. And with Progress 82 safely on its way to the International Space Station, that'll wrap up our coverage for today. You can join NASA as we go forward to the Moon and Mars, discover the latest on Earth, the solar system, and beyond with a weekly update in your inbox. You can subscribe at www.nasa.gov/subscribe. This is Mission Control Houston.